Hello everybody, this is Matthew with F3 and I'm on site here for a customer today. We are going to be putting in a Pronto PC14 failover router for a location that we run the network for. And this will go into their unified gateway as the WAN 2, and it'll be able to fail over to that cellular backup internet if it detects that their main ISP goes down. So I have that device right here for you today. Pronto 4G LTE wireless router. And this is the PC14 model. And behind me here, we have the network rack for the customer. So they currently have Comcast as a failover, but they want to move over to us. That way we manage their network with the unified equipment. And then we can also help manage and install this cellular failover router for them to back up in case that main Comcast goes down. And so first we have this big network rack. So we need to investigate where their current failover is in the rack, and then also double check where that is getting plugged to into their unified gateway. So looking at their network rack here, looks like the main ISP is down here. And then we do have that Comcast failover right there. And so that green cable is the one that is running up here and eventually goes into port 4 here in that designated WAN 2 spot on this unified gateway. So that is what we will be replacing right now. And then we will get our Pronto device on the top of that rack so it's not cluttered in the middle of the rest of that network equipment. And then typically before we send these out to customers, we do make sure we throw the SIM card in there and power the device on to make sure that it works properly, so that way we don't run into any issues or surprises when we're on site. So we can confirm the device works, it's functional, and then we will bring it on site to install it. We do have a plug here that we can use. Should be able to power this through, and we'll run it up inside the rack here. Connect that and make sure the light power is on. Perfect. And then now we just need another patch cable. All right. So now that that is connected, we'll wait for that Pronto to come online. And we will be able to check from our dashboard to make sure that the WAN 2 is showing as transmitting data to the network. And then we can do speed tests from the Pronto router just to double check again that it's online and it's getting good speeds. And then from there, they should be good to go. In case their main ISP goes down, it should automatically notice that, and within 30 seconds or so, it should fail over to that new 5G failover network and be able to keep their network up, so that way they can continue to take payments, put orders through, and they should be good to go. So now I'm here installing at another location, and this one is a little different because the router they have has the WAN settings programmed a little differently depending on the model that it has. So the other one at the other location had designated ports that WAN 1 and WAN 2 could be on, but this one is a little different. So the way this model works, the UDM Pro, it has an ISP port here that's an RJ45 connection, and then it has an SFP port up there that we could use if we had an SFP adapter, or like this cable, just a straight SFP cable that we are using to connect the unified router to the switch. However, our Pronto device uses an RJ45 connection, and we found those, if we do use an SFP connector, to be a little bit unstable, a little bit wonky. But with the UDM Pro, you can program any of these ports to work as the WAN 2. So what we're going to do is program port 7 to be the WAN 2, and then we can plug it in there. Hello, this is Matthew with F3 IT, and we're back here at another location that we provide network support for, doing another one of these failover swaps. And this location's network is set up a little bit differently in that they have a router back here that just has one WAN port. So we can't do what we've done at the other locations where we have separate WAN ports for the WAN 1 and WAN 2. This one will need to set our failover router up in a pass-through manner, and I can show you what that looks like for this location. So this is the location's network setup. They have a UDM with a UniFi switch down here, and then the Comcast router and our failover router are down here. So as we can see, this UDM only has one WAN port on the bottom, and then all the rest of these are just LAN ports for connections for additional switches or additional devices. So in order to get them set up on the failover, we have to connect it in a pass-through manner. So our Pronto router down here, this gray cable is in the WAN port on the back, and that will connect back to the Comcast modem. So this Pronto router gets a WAN connection from the Comcast modem, and then the black cable is what runs up and back into that UDM. And the way this works is this Pronto router can just pass through the Comcast connection to the UDM as long as that Comcast router is online. But then if the Pronto router notices that the WAN connection coming from Comcast goes down, it can then kick over to the failover connection and provide that UDM with the 5G cell connection in order to stay online. So that is how we take care of our customers on failover. With a router that does not have dual WAN ports, we can still allow that pass-through Comcast connection while that is online. And then when that goes out, it can automatically swap over to the failover connection for them.